Greetings. Welcome to another segment of Keep the Beat with Pete. And today I want to talk about comping. I want to add to what we've already built upon by delving into progressive steps to syncopation for the modern drummer. This is Ted Reed's book. In the introduction, he talks about having printed it in 1951. He finally got it, 58, excuse me. He had it published in 1958. Now, there's a zillion ways to use this book. You'll see a lot of people online. Even Ted Reed himself wrote a second book on ways to use the first book, segments of the first book. When I was studying with Joe, he had a lot of different ways to use some of the key exercises in this book. So it's widely used. But I wanted to just, after we review the basics, then I wanted to get into one or two ideas that we can use to combine with our other lessons and enhance our ability to create the beat we keep without a lot of memorization. This will take a little bit more memorization, but when you use one of these approaches that I'm going to suggest, it'll be a lot easier. So, first of all, he wrote the book as a reading exercise. He was teaching a lot of lessons, syncopated rhythms. Let's just get into it, syncopated rhythms. You can look it up on Google to get a wide variety of things, but you know, a regular rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4, so syncopated. So anything that might put the accent, displace it, put it off, shift it, and give you that feeling of not landing exactly square on the beat, syncopated rhythm. It's all over jazz, you know, swing music and so forth. Okay? Well, when Ted Reed was teaching this, and he got it published in 58, but he must have been doing this in the late 40s, early 50s, he was writing out a lot of these exercises by hand, and he said each night, he was teaching many students each day, he would go home and his hand would be sore, trying to give people reading exercises. So this book is written, many sections of it are written to train the eye and the hand mechanics of reading swung eighth notes. So one of the first ways you should use it is if you want to just train yourself to read. So you get your metronome and you can pick a nice tempo, but you start reading, you know. You know, and I just did the first 3 lines. And you can, you know, take it up, you know. And so forth, as you progress. You're training your eyes, you're training your hands to be able to, you know, translate this very quickly when you look at a chart. So then as you're playing a big band chart, there's all different tempos, you're playing a jazz chart, and so use it that way. That's the way it was originally intended to be used. It's hand to hand and so forth. Okay, so then what happened? Well, people started to realize there's a lot of applications for what's going on here, and we're just going to go over 2 of them today and see how we combine them with our other segments so that you can take this stuff to the bandstand pretty easily to create the beat you keep. Okay? So, what I want to do is I want to say, let's talk about one of the first ways that it was used, aside from its original, was to create comping exercises. So, you play time, jazz time, standard, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, right? Bass drum 4 on the floor, feathering. Right? And then you play these lines with your left hand. I'm on page 38, by the way. Those are the key exercises that a lot of people have extracted, and these are called exercise 1 through 8. There's actually 9 of them, but the first 8 are really the ones that became very popular. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. you look up the Ted Reed Progressive Syncopation book, and you'll see a lot of suggestions on how to use this. A lot of short videos, a lot of YouTube stuff, and a lot of it's very helpful. What I wanted to do today is take a slightly different approach to this. You would have to go back and watch some of the earlier videos that we have on basic comping, because there we laid out some very easy to memorize permutations that you can take and shift and go back and forth. If you're new to the channel, go back and watch the comping, the basic symbol patterns, and then the basic comping, and a lot of the substitutions. In those videos, we talk about some very easy steps to build pretty comprehensive vocabulary for comping. Okay? Then we had another video where we talked about using stick control for some portions of it. Pretty easy to memorize stuff. Well, here, I wanted to take a different approach to this. I want to take 2 bars at a time, and I want you to be able to use these as contrasting bars with our basics. So the first 2 bars, you know, once we have a nice tempo, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3. That's the 2 bars. Start trying to memorize them. Memorize 2 bars. What's that going to do? Well, you could do a series of these in 2-bar groupings and pick out your favorites. I don't know if you're going to memorize all 8 exercises, you have 2 bars up and down all these pages and have them ready, but you will get a number of them. And what you can use them for is, if you go back to some of our other videos where there's some basic comping, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3. So, you go back to those videos, you'll see that we had okay? So you can take those bars and use them that way. Same thing, 2 bars at a time, you can start doing the hand-to-hand approach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. hand, or a little mix and matching on different orchestrations, or playing them as basic comping. So, would you memorize all these two-bar groupings? Probably not. Are you going to be able to pick out your favorites? Yes. And combine them with our other segments? Yes. And you're going to increase your vocabulary yet again 10, 15, 20, 30% of what you want to say, when you want to say it, how you want to say it. And of course, as you can see, if you do this, so this is a slick way to up your game yet again in terms of creating the beat you keep. Where's this guy getting this stuff from? Well, it's permutations, mixing and matching, and just putting some orchestrations in, right? We didn't even really delve into, you could do the bass drum substitutions too, but that's another time, another day, okay? This is basically hand-to-hand or as comping, and you memorize 2 bars at a time. And you go down maybe just the first page, you know. So there's, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines on a page, 4 bars, that's 40 bars. Would you memorize, 20 groupings, 2 bars? You probably could. I wouldn't go down that rabbit hole all the way, but I would pick out some of them that really seem to work for you and pocket them. You get your muscle memory in there, you get them part of you, and they could become contrasting figures for you. So you have our basics that we talked about that are easy to memorize and permutate and move throughout the measures, and then these could be placed in the middle of an 8-bar phrase, they could be tagged at the end, they could maybe be intros, and then you go back to your regular standard stuff that's easier to remember. And you'll get a lot of them here. Because like I said, if there's 40 bars, you have 22 bar combinations, and there's 8 of these exercises, do the math. There's a lot of opportunities. And some are going to work much better than others. Some work better hand-to-hand, some work very well in the comping world. And as I said, there's a lot of other ways to use this book, and you'll see a lot of them if you Google it. In subsequent sections, we can go into that. But suffice to say, you do this and you memorize some bars, plus practice it as reading, If you're going to read through it and you're going to build up your tempos, sometimes don't even open the book until you're warmed up. Pick out one of the exercises you're less familiar with and see if you could read through it, how accurate you are. You may want to tape yourself and then look back at it. Because it is written as a reading exercise for syncopated rhythms. That's the author's introduction. And a lot of people, I don't see them using it exactly that way anymore, but that's, again, I love the fundamentals, the basics. Then we go into this, using it for slick memorization and enhancing our vocabulary. You will have to go back, like I say, and watch those other videos, unless you've already taken that stuff and put it into your muscle memory, okay? So, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please do. If you want to discuss all these concepts further, you contact me for the private lessons, and we can explore this in much greater detail. Over the course of time, we will touch upon this topic again, and I'll show some other little ways that I like to use this book, okay? So, there it is, Progressive Syncopation, Ted Reed, this approach to helping you boost your vocabulary and help you create the beat you keep. Okay, so thanks for tuning in, and remember, peace out, keep the beat with Pete.